Welcome back to those of you who've tuned in to other videos from my law office. If you've just discovered these online forums, my name is Sylvie Richards. I'm an estate planning attorney in New York City based on the Upper West Side. Recently, I've been thinking a lot about the importance of financial and estate planning for women. How's it different, if it's different? Whether a woman is divorced, widowed, or single can have a cascading impact, not just on earnings, savings, or investments, but also long-term care and legacy. I've invited a wonderful colleague and friend to join me for a conversation in the hopes we can offer some insight into financial and legal nuances and strategies that empower women. Stacy Francis is the president and CEO of Francis Financial. She is a nationally recognized financial expert with over 20 years of experience in the financial industry. Welcome, Stacy.
Thank you, Sylvie. I'm so excited to be here today. One of the superpowers of Francis Financial is working with women who are on their own, who haven't necessarily been in the driver's seat of their finances. And we're absolutely passionate about educating women to live financially free and financially confident. And so you can check out Kiplinger's. I have a column there, as well as the Wall Street Journal and Forbes and a few other organizations. And you'll find about 200 articles about some of these topics we're talking about today, but also a lot more. So I'm really excited to be here.
In what ways do you find that financial planning is different for women versus men?
Well, I'll tell you, our history is pretty darn different than our male counterparts. I was born in 1974, and in 1974, back then, women were not allowed to have a credit card in their name. We couldn't own a home because we couldn't get a mortgage in our name. And here with Women's History Month, it's a wonderful opportunity to see, how far we've come. But for women in particularly, there's a lot more that we need to do, especially when it comes to financial security. And we all know those statistics you hear women still earn 82 cents for every dollar a man earns. But something I really want to focus on, which is actually a whole lot more important than that, is what's called the wealth gap. And the wealth gap is really financially dangerous for women. Women have two Women have three-fourths of the amount of savings for retirement as a man. But the problem with that is we live a whole lot longer. We live on average 6 years longer. And not to mention, we have much higher medical expenses. So you can imagine, Sylvie, this is a really big problem.
Yeah, and longevity is a huge issue for women. Um, we all want to live longer, and that's great, but we need to make sure that we have the financial resources in place
Yeah.
in order to be able to eat well, live well, have a quality of life that makes sense for us.
Yeah.
And when you think about 1974, that was really the first year where women could even begin to think about estate planning for themselves, where they would have their own estate, their own assets, their own wealth. And so this is a relatively new concept if you think about it. And so educating women on financial matters, on estate planning matters, is really at the forefront of what I do, and I know of what you do. And when you talk about, long-term care, that's really because more women than men will outlive their spouse.
Yeah, I know it's interesting that you say that. I mean, this statistic you know, but I don't know if a lot of the listeners know today, and I hope you're all kind of sitting down. 80% of men die married with someone there by their side to take care of them in their older age. But for us ladies, 80% of us die alone, whether through that's through widowhood, that's through divorce, or just not necessarily getting married. And we will find ourselves at some point, if not now, alone managing our finances on our own. And that's why, this recording is so important, because it's important for women to understand what they need to do to make sure that they're going to be financially secure, not only today, but really in the future.
Yeah, and widowhood brings about some complex issues, particularly if a woman has remarried, because then we have blended family issues. And planning for blended families it's a complex matter, because oftentimes there are children for both spouses, there are grandchildren, there are innumerable issues that arise. And so it becomes important to think about creating trusts, to have even in place something like a Medicaid asset protection trust to make sure that if you don't have long-term care insurance, or you think you might run out of assets, that we can create a trust for you that would in fact protect your assets so that you can leave them to your children and your grandchildren. But that speaks to really planning early and well, because again, a Medicaid asset protection trust has a 5-year look back period.
Mm.
So we need to make sure that the person is healthy, has enough time to transfer all of the assets into the trust. All of these issues arise really because of the special place that women have in terms of financial and estate planning. And I don't know, I'm sure it's true for you as well, but the biggest issue, of course, is mental capacity, because more women than men have dementia and Alzheimer's, which impact whether or not they can even create a will or a trust.
It's so important that you talk about that. I mean, my biggest fear is dementia. I have seen that in my family, and I've seen grandparents and even my mother need long-term care. And so I was lucky enough to get a long-term care policy when I was 39, but not everyone can. And so, checking to see, are you qualified to do that? And if not, putting money aside and again planning for the future now.
Yeah, and people are oftentimes not aware that employers offer long-term care insurance as part of their benefits. A group policy is great. But for many women who are self-employed or are employed in jobs where the employers do not offer that scope of benefits, going to the marketplace for long-term care insurance is also a viable option. And, we when we talk about Alzheimer's and dementia and even widowhood, we have to think about the fact that it's not only wealth gaps and age gaps that matter, but also that women are part of that sandwich generation, right? And there are going to be gaps in their earnings, and there are going to be gaps because they're taking care of young children or their aging parents. And so, again, we need to really think about women's lives in a very different way than we think about men's lives.
Yeah, no, I agree. And back to that, planning is key. I have to say, I'm really passionate about making sure that women are saving for retirement early and consistently, because we do have fewer earning years. We do tend to make less, and it adds up to a whole lot less money that we have for our retirement. A great rule of thumb is to make sure and aim for putting 15% of your salary away for retirement. Now, I know that's a big number when you kind of think about, oh my gosh, how am I going to do that? I was in the same place when I started, but every year that I got a raise in my salary, guess what? I gave a raise to my retirement savings too. So don't be afraid to increase your contributions when you get those raises. And where do you want to put your money? I have to tell you, definitely not under your mattress. You need to make sure that that money is working for you, that it doubles, triples, quadruples over time, that it works as hard as you're working. And how do you do that? You make sure that you're investing with confidence, but actually, only 26% of women say that they are financially confident investors, whereas half of all men feel that way. That needs to change. And how do we do that? Well, it's by becoming empowered. About becoming knowledgeable about investing and how to make our money work for us.
Yeah, and when you do that, of course, you impact other generations, right? So you'll be able to create a testamentary trust in your will, or you'll be able to create a minor's trust, or you'll be able to, if you have a special needs child, you'll be able to create a special needs trust and fund it. And so our children benefit from our planning, and we can appoint guardians, we can appoint trustees when we do careful estate planning. And I do think also that it points to, I mean, that 26% points to the fact that oftentimes women don't feel comfortable speaking to people, male advisors, and it's important to note that there are women advisors to whom they can turn, who have more empathy and have walked, as you said, have walked in those shoes and can provide guidance based not only on our experiences but also on the value that we bring through our practices to women who find themselves in these situations.
Yeah, no, I actually really appreciate you bringing that up, Sylvie. We primarily work with women. We have a few happily married couples where she's as involved as her partner, but over 70% of our clients are women who are on their own. They're solo agers, and that is something that we hear, that they don't feel like they have been understood by their previous advisor. They don't feel like they've been heard by financial professionals. So it's really important, again, to choose the right financial advisor. And when you're looking for a financial advisor, number one, you want someone to specialize in your specific needs as a woman aging on her own. But also, you're looking for a fee only, an independent, and a fiduciary financial advisor. And I will tell you also, Sylvie, a lot of our clients, when they are asking about who should I use to update my will, because of course that is one of the most important things to do, many of them do ask to work with women. And I think part of it is that some of our clients feel like they've been judged in the past about what they know or they don't know. Also, a lot of this, both the financial piece and the estate planning piece, can be really overwhelming. It can be really intimidating. And so, having a professional like yourself, like myself, who can really be there, truly understand your concerns, truly understand your goals, and help you with a long term vision to be financially secure and to make sure that your loved ones are taken care of as well.
Yes, and the more that we can do to educate women and bring them into financial security, estate planning security, we're also creating a roadmap for their children, because what what parents do in their own lives affects how children perceive financial planning, estate planning in their own lives. Are they going to be comfortable? It becomes generational, right? What we do impacts women now and generations to come.
I definitely agree. And again, we've made a lot of wonderful strides, but I think you and I can agree, especially as we're celebrating Women's History Month, we've got a lot more to do. We have a long way to go. And so I feel like this is kind of that first step to understand more about your choices, the decisions you need to make, how to bring financial security into your life, peace of mind, and writing that love letter to the people you love. The most wonderful love letter you could imagine, or at least that I could imagine, is creating a beautiful estate plan and also making sure that you have a financial plan that makes sure you're financially secure so they can truly be there to love you and not necessarily have to financially support you.
Yes. And so we want to encourage women who are listening to this recording to contact us. We will be happy to work with you. We will be happy to counsel you. We will be happy to provide a basis of support for you as you move forward in your financial planning, in your estate planning. We are here for you. So thank you so much, Stacy. This has just been wonderful.
Thank you so much. I'm very excited. And again, happy Women's History Month.
Yes, happy Women's History Month. Exactly. Thank you.